Everybody, this is Jeff Veale, the business guru, coming to you from downtown Manila in the Philippines. Got a very interesting guest today. I've had a bit of a chat to him earlier, and I know a bit about the story, and we're going to now tell you the story. It's my great pleasure to welcome this gentleman. His name is Kean Buckley, and Kean's going to tell you a bit about things in a minute. He's a life mentor and a numerologist. Do you know your numbers? If you don't, hop on, have a virtual cup of coffee. Costs you nothing to have an early chat to this man. Find out about your numbers and you'll be enthralled as I have been, right? Company name is Buckley Trust and is into life coaching and conscientious raising, right? Conscientiousness raising, sorry. 35 years in the industry, knows a bit about it. It's about life, guys. And, you know, we all know about life.
Yeah, just life. Yeah.
This man knows more than most of us. Personal and business mentoring via GPS, accurate advice given by source-based numerology. Key achievements, listen to this, guys, 150 local and international retreats where clients report a 25% to 800% shifts in 16 life areas within 1 week. 10,000 hours in practice and too many personal stories to mention. Facilitated over 500 workshops, right? So interesting fact about himself, personal motto of philosophy, it's a great one. Be yourself. There's no copy of you, just be you, right? You do you and I'll do me, as I tell people, right? I've upgraded the most ancient art, math, science on earth, numerology, and made it as accurate as a GPS, able to channel and act as a medium, asked to be on TV and decline, have the ability to hear others' dimensions. And there we are. So it's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage our friend here, Mr. Kean. How are you, sir?
Thanks, Jeff. Really, really good. Thanks. We had a much longer chat than people would know behind the scenes there, and
Absolutely.
I'm outfitted by you. You're a much more interesting man. So it's been a great conversation. We've covered the world,
We're both storytellers, guys. You guys wouldn't believe half the stories. Tell us about your journey and what inspired you to pursue your current career path. What happened?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I was just like a normal guy. I was going to be, I was going for medicine. I smashed myself up after an accident, a big argument with my father. And the weirdest thing was mum was an astrologer and she was famous in the UK. She's nearly the first on TV, definitely the first on radio. And it was woo-woo for me, so it was the last thing I wanted to do as a normal kid. But mum said, look, be really careful. You've got some bad aspects. And I went, okay. Respect my mum, love her, but more or less talk to the hand, mum. As I hit the truck with my knee and it shattered, so much so that when I looked down at my knee, I hit it with my head and my body. He's doing about 60 kilometers an hour on a push bike, had big legs. Friends were cycling for the UK at the time. I wasn't their standard, but I was strong. I bounced back 5 meters, went down, and my knee was on the ground. So it looked like it was dislocated. It was that bad. I'd shattered the tibia, and as the endorphins kicked in, I remember thinking, 15 years of age, there's something in that astrology. It was just a thought, right?
Yeah.
So then I go back to, to hospital. I'm in there for 2 months, told I'm never going to run again, never going to grow. It was a pretty bad accident. Had 4 operations to get the knee right, had pins in there, all sorts of stuff. And everyone came to see me. I was in the young lung cancer ward. And so I watched a few people die. I had my lungs at 600 volume and they had like 40 or 50. So I wondered, they were operating on 1/10 of the lung. So I never smoked. I just learned some stuff when I was in hospital. When I came out, I just went, I don't want to be a doctor. So my mother said, you love kids, you love sports. I became a phys ed teacher. I taught in London where they filmed Bend It Like Beckham, Indian kids in Hounslow. Went from there into financial planning. Made a lot of money. And about 1995, literally, pretty normal guy at this stage still. Had a voice in my office as loud as you can imagine saying, get out, like that. And I'd never heard a voice. I'd never heard a non-physical voice ever. And it shocked me, not to my core. I was, strong man. It didn't affect me that much, but it affected me mentally. So I sold my business about 5 months later, went to Thailand with my girlfriend, wealthy family from Sydney, toured there for about 6-7 weeks. Nice. Came back and went, how do I find something? So I went to all these shows, looked for people that I thought could help me. Couldn't find anyone. Went to these expos, the sort of places where you go to see people that might be able to help you. Didn't find one. And eventually this girl told me a story about something, and I got the goosies on my arm, and I went, whatever that is. I met this big guy called Colin, and he taught me some stuff over about a 9-year period, him and a group of people. So that got me going. Yeah.
What's been the most challenging aspect of your work, and how are you overcoming that?
The lack of money, doing what I thought that I do. I thought I'd be famous at doing this. And, my business partner made 15 million pretty quickly after I left. Yeah. So the poverty was the worst bit. And also being, more or less married to a girl from a very wealthy family, seen as the woo-woo spiritual guy, the wanker, basically. And that was tough. It was pretty galling because they were very, very successful family. So to hold my end up where there was really not much to talk about, I felt like a guy with a badminton racket playing with people with heavy tennis rackets. I felt like not a full man, Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Tell us an important moment in your career where you changed direction, going like from a finance wizard to where you are now. What happened?
Yeah, well, that was that wake up moment, and basically a guy called Neil Brett who bought my business for 50 grand. He couldn't sell a financial planning business in 95. He got the 50 grand back in commissions in 6 weeks. That's how good my client base was. Yeah. So then I go to Thailand, and we did some things like you do, and sort of had my hippie moment, shall we say, my psychedelic kind of time. And then I just went back and I need to knuckle down. So over the next 9 years with Colin and the group I was in, I learned about all sorts of stuff I didn't think existed, to be honest. It was all a bit woo-woo and funny to me. But one of the guys, Dave, was a shaman. He was the head of a bikie gang, and they reenacted the landing of 𝐊𝐤𝐽𝐡, and his son did the armory for Xena and Hercules and probably Lord of the Rings. I didn't check it through, but I imagine his son did. And it got a Maori activist with a tie hat attacked his son on national TV, tried to knock his head off. Yeah. And Dave just more or less stopped it. I didn't go to court, no grievous bodily harm. And he taught me stuff about being present, being strong, and being a man, basically. So I use that with my practice now as a mentor, is I just challenge people as strongly as I can to be who they really are. So the be yourself is really, I'm talking tomorrow in Noosa, and, they all think they're authentic. And I very rarely meet an authentic person. They always have a mask on or a facade or a personality that's not who they are. So, that's what made me come to this, is to prove to people that's a personality and help them feel the shop front, the face that is good in some cultures. They hold a face because they don't want you to know about them. That's great if the culture believes in face. But our culture more or less says, be who you are, mate. And most of us aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, in your opinion, so far, what are the key qualities and skills that have helped contribute to your amazing success? What do you believe they are?
I think believing in my parents' gifts, because I think at the end, if you cut adrift from your parents and you don't think you've got anything from them, and, this divide and conquer thing that happens in the world, a lot of breakups in marriages, and kids break up and think they can do better in their families. And, a lot of us have crappy childhoods. But if you can respect even the worst things that you got from your parents and see that they made you who you are, you kind of not cut adrift from the necklace of your ancestors that, come in through you. So my key thing is to hold respect and love when it's really tough. It's one of the biggest things I teach. And people think, oh, you tie-dye hippie, you love stuff. The term that Greg and I coined, because my coach was the cabin flight director of Qantas, was care. He just said, care. Do you care about these people? And since I've had brain damage, which you wouldn't be able to tell I do have right now, I can tell if people care. But I take it one step further, is we know when we love someone, there's something about that funny fucker, excuse my French, but that person that you meet, you just love them and you can't understand why. And most of my clients, I love them. I genuinely love them, and they can feel that I do. So when they give me a call when no one else will pick up that call, and I have a shitload of clients that haven't suicided over the COVID period, because I ran groups through that time frame where I was available, because people had tough times. They couldn't see their families. Some people didn't see people die. There's lots of stories, you don't need to know them, but like, that's when the care became love for me, and like, so that's what I've always tried to do. They call it a duty of care. For me, it's a duty of love. Like, if I can treat everyone like my family, then maybe we'll get something out of this, rather than it just being another PowerPoint presentation or another, I don't know, time management course or some kind of BS that you do. Generally, it doesn't move the needle, Yeah.
Speaking of suicide, I've known in the last couple of years, I've known 3 high-profile people who committed suicide, and honest to God, they would be the last person you would put them down for suicide.
Yeah.
So it can affect anybody, anywhere, guys. You know,
Absolutely.
it's amazing. One was in Sydney. I'm trying to think of his name right now. It escapes me. I can see his face. Kerwin someone. I'm trying to think what his name was.
Kerwin Ray. Kerwin
Ray. There you go. Kerwin. Now, who would have thought that? Kerwin was a motivator. He was awesome. He was a friend.
Shocked us all. Yeah.
I appeared on Kerwin's stage a few times when I was younger. Kerwin loved me because I gave him some really good case histories and stuff. But that shocked, and I'm overseas when I heard that. That shocked me I thought to myself, oh, what, car accident or someone murdered him or what happened? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, no, it's the last thing we suspect. I mean, when Michael Jackson went, I knew why he went. I could feel it was really obvious. So, but the people they've got those big muscly bodies, and they shut it in, and you can't tell that's there. What got me there, mate, was my daughter. She was looking at a 220-foot building, and at the same time as one of my my friends, his daughter had her leg over the bridge with one of her kids and calling him up saying, "I'm about to go, Dad." There's the thought that my daughter could be thinking that, mate. I stopped everything. I stopped business about 4 years ago and just stayed with her until she was fine. And she doesn't need me at all now. She is so strong. I'm the needy one. It's ridiculous. And just talking to my sisters today, going, well, isn't that what you wanted? You wanted to be strong and independent and more or less say, get out of here, Dad.
Guys, I must confess, I've had 5 multi-million-dollar businesses, right? It's all about the money at some stage. It's what you think. It's not, but that's what you think. And at some stage, I had to joke to myself. I said, oh, God, I wish I had a little button on my wrist, because if I'd had a little button on my wrist where you could check out, I would have checked out 20 or 30 times, guys. So you've got to get through those tough times. Reach out. Always someone like Kean or myself. We care. Reach out, guys.
We do. We do. On my little thing, I say with people that, you've got everything, you're doing great, but the wheels are spinning or something's missing. What is that something? And often it's just something that you and I can give that, one of my clients said, I just hadn't, it took me 2 minutes to say something to him, a question. He said he was a doctor. He hadn't given it the slightest thought in his whole life. And that's what a genius mind can do, or someone who's just outside of your brain can just say something that you didn't even thought mattered. Like, I didn't think I mattered to one of my kids really until I said something to her and just gutted her. And I was like, wow, you can affect your stepkids. One of my kids, I can hurt her with a thought. I can think of a color, there's stuff behind me. I can think of color and she'll go 7 in a row, right? She's telepathic, right? And so these kids coming through now with ADHD and autism spectrum kind of stuff, their minds are open at a level for many, many reasons that I don't think we've experienced before. I think they're an upgrade on us. So if we don't upgrade, we're not going to be able to stick with them,
You reminded me of a story. I had this lovely girlfriend for about 6 years, and things were going a bit rocky. And I suggested, it was a bit woo-woo for me, but I suggested we go to make her happy. I suggested we go to a marriage counsellor, right? We weren't married, but we're good as. Anyway, we go off to the marriage counsellor, and it's a woman. I think, I'm going to get paid out here, being a woman.
Hammered,
Yeah. That was my thought. So we go in there. Her name was Marilyn. So Marilyn lets loose. And I said, well, tell us a bit about, and the lady says, tell us, Marilyn. And she goes, oh, he did this and he does this and he. I went for about a bloody hour, and I'm sitting there listening to all this shit, and I'm thinking, half that's bullshit. Anyway, then finally came my turn, and I'm thinking, okay, well, she dumped on me, and the woman said to me, Jeff, what do you want? And I had tears in my eyes, and I said, I want to be happy. That's all I said. I want to be happy.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Yes.
I want to be happy.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Yes.
I don't want confrontation or bullshit.
No.
I just want to be happy.
Yeah.
That was it. It was so funny.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And we broke up eventually anyway, so that's another story. Tell me.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're heading that way. My email address for ages had a message in it, happy@beyourself.com.au. I still have it to this day, so people can get me. Happy@beyourself.com.au.
I'd say also, adding to that, I'd spoken to Kean for ages before we come on the show, longer than anyone I've ever spoke to. He's an interesting man. And he's got 2 things that you need. He's got empathy in spades. Empathy, he's a great listener, right? And he's got integrity. If you ain't got integrity, guys, you ain't got nothing. So, you know, they're the two key qualities I know he's got, right? Tell us, how do you stay motivated and continue to motivate in your field? What's your secret?
Love for life. I mean, I definitely lost it after my wife decided to break up with me, and I was asked to be the mentor on couples retreat. And my wife said, "You haven't got the guts." If some lady said I touched her boob in a session, I would have blushed. But my wife left me eventually because happiness myself, Jeff, like I come from a manic depressive kind of family, and I obviously picked up something, and I just, when you just don't know you've got something. And that's
Yep.
why I went and did some really big work on myself. I got coaches, that kind of stuff, and really wanted to be the best I could be.
Yep.
And I would say what's kept me going is a very strong spirit. Like I'm like you, I'll never give up, right? If there's something
Yeah.
I say I'm going to do, I will do it. If I work with a client and they want a result, I'll help them get it.
Yep.
And it's like a headbutt. You got to be willing to go there sometimes, and it hurts. You don't want to do it, but you do it.
Yep.
I'm swimming a K every second day now, and I'm not a swimmer. I'm doing it because I don't breathe very well. I've got a sort of anxious breath kind of thing. So I just push through. So it's this purpose-driven thing. I know there's something I've got to do, and
Yeah.
it's definitely to do with authenticity. And I'm sure some of the people are going to come to me are going to be my teachers, because I don't have all the answers. The answers come when I'm working with someone. You've played a high level of sport. You can't play sport, especially tennis. I played tennis unless you got someone hitting the ball back on the other side. And
Right.
if they hit it back better, yeah, they make you better. And that's my clients, my kids, my exes all make me better. I get on great with all of them. I
Yep.
still want to give myself a higher score. So my final destination is not like most people's, is when I end my life. I saw my mother end her life recently very badly. Is I want to end my life on my own terms, where I look around at everyone. There's no debts, and I don't mean money. There's no debts. And I look at people and I hold their hands and I feel what I know I'm going to feel. That's it. That's it. It might be 95, could be 105, but that's it. Yeah.
Well, I've booked the Sydney Opera House. You've got to come along. I'm going to give a lecture when I'm 100, right? So I hope
Good.
you come along.
Good. I'll be there. I'll be there
Yeah,
with bells on.
that's the one.
Row A1,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Tell us about amongst your many, tell us about a recent project or achievement that you're particularly proud of.
Ooh. Probably writing this book. Okay. Because this book is written.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This book is written. It's the only book ever in the world that's actually got
like the bloody phone book. Yeah.
It's got the frequencies of words, right? And it's not been done before. So basically each word has a frequency based upon that, right? Okay. And it has a vibration. So we understand that in a radio station, if you want to tune in, you match its frequency and you can't help but get that vibration. Is that people speak in words. It's a spell. I'm not talking witch magic. You can have a positive spell. And the word has a frequency like a tuner in a radio station. I coach a lady who runs a radio station, and it's funny, one of her numbers is 104, and it sounds like a radio station 104.5 kind of thing. Einstein said, if you want something, match its frequency. This isn't philosophy or woo-woo. This is physics. Yeah. So I've got a book of words and sentences. I explain the personality of each of these numbers behind me. So far, this is the oldest science in the world. People don't know it. And this is GPS accurate. So the tattoo I've got on my arm here, that's a thing called the Fibonacci sequence. And it's an unlimited number that includes everything. Long story about it. The buildings are made to it. People trade to it, and people don't understand it. And it forms the random access memory, your central processing on your computer, and your GPS that everybody trusts when they use their phone to go from A to B. Well, I can use it with you to show you how to go to A for B with how you speak about yourself, destination-based frequencies, So I use it to just fine-tune my clients and check them out. It takes a while for them to see it. They think it's a bit woo-woo initially, but once they've had their first taste of it, and I mean really taste the red wine and go, yes, that's a real Cabernet Sauvignon. When they've got it, it works. It's probably the strongest modality I can think of.
Speaking about that, I learned this years ago. I'm a pretty basic guy. I tell people I'm uneducated, not unintelligent. I left school at 14. However, the word hello, people don't realize hello the word is to turn your brain on. That's where it came from. Because
Brilliant.
You walk up and start grunting or throwing out words.
I know that.
Hello is to turn you on.
So good.
That's
so
the
good.
purpose of it. And the other one You know, when people shake hands, that's to show there's no weapon. Back in the day.
I know. I knew that one. Yeah,
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 I'm not
yeah.
threatening you.
Love
Here,
that.
look, my hand's empty. But the hello,
Yeah,
I found that very interesting because it made sense, doesn't it? Because you go from nothing to someone's got to break the ice. So hello, and you go, oh, hello. It turns your brain on. Then we're ready.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, that's look, I could tell you what it means. You know, it frees up the mind basically to
Yeah,
do
get
something
ready.
that is,
Get
yeah,
ready to receive. You know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Tell me, a 20-year-old
Yes,
comes to you, a son, a niece, a daughter, a
yes.
nephew, and they ask you,
Yep.
look, I've just left school, Kean. What do you reckon I should do with myself? What would you tell them?
I would say research the whole universe, talk to as many people as you can, the people
Yep,
you least expect to talk to,
yep,
follow the beat of your own drum, go with what lights you up, do what you love, and really, really make sure you're going to do something that would inspire you, not what your parents want you to do. You can
yeah,
listen to
correct.
their suggestions, and it's really important that you do. That sometimes they're limited to butcher, baker, candlestick maker, and
I
the
love that.
world they're in is dead.
Yeah,
And you know, it's a bit like my friend Robert. He showed me an iPhone 2 back in the day when I was helping him in his real estate company. And he said, you know what, Ken, this is going to do more than sending a text and a phone call back then. It will do
yeah,
thousands of things. So find out those thousands of things. And I used to want to do this. I wanted to be a career guidance person, guidance counselor back in the day because I had police officer, garbo, and
yeah,
doctor kind of thing as my options back then. I was like, you know, what happens if I want to dance ballet or play cricket or whatever, professional sports person? And they had no idea. And obviously, you know, talk to inspirational people and talk to people you respect and people you want to be like, and you're likely to be on track with what you want to do. Yeah.
love it. I told you my story earlier. I got programmed by my stepfather when I was younger. He always told me,
Yes.
you're going to be no one, you're always going to be a labourer. So when I left home and school at 14, I picked up the paper and I went, LLL, oh yeah, labourer, labourer. And I did shit jobs. I dug trenches and bloody ripped out sheep
Oh,
scalps and worked on oil rigs.
yeah.
I was 18, right? All this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. As a
Yeah.
labourer, it was only,
Yeah.
I hit my straps when I was 28. I decided I was better than a labourer. I'm gonna stop working for idiots. I'm gonna go and work for a lunatic. I went and worked for myself, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
I found
That's
myself,
clever.
but I
That's
was
clever.
28. And how I
Yeah.
got it, by the way, wages back then were $100 a week. I took the pen out one day, not very smart, and I went, oh yeah. I had a big white Monaro. My car's $20 a month. Petrol's $15. My rent's $20. Girlfriend, you've got to have a girlfriend, $20, etc.
Yeah.
It came to $90. And I looked at it and I went, shit, if I'm really diligent and don't make any effing mistakes, at $10 a week at the end of the year, I'm going to have $500, which is basically a good night out. I said, I might as well not work. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the day I flipped the coin.
Yeah.
That every day. I said, I'm not working for $500 a year. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how
I,
my whole story came about.
yeah. Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
I had some fun
Yeah.
stories. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking ahead, you're only a young man, you're at base camp. Looking ahead, what are your goals and aspirations for the future? What are you going to be doing?
Look, it sounds weird at this stage. Like everyone, all my kids, I've got 4 kids that all grown up, got good jobs. One's running a restaurant just now, and my 18-year-old's just moved back with her mum. It sounds weird, but I'm one of those guys that took a real interest in their kids. So I'm a bit of a weird one. Like, you know, I was the income earner too, but I'd take my kids to school and I'd look after them. Now they're done, to be honest, I'm
Yeah,
having to think about what I want to do for myself, which is
yeah,
the first time in a long time.
yeah,
And the thing that seems to give me the most joy, because I've gone through trauma psychology the last year, etc., and you wouldn't see it from how, you know,
yeah,
how I was, but I've definitely worked through to get my brain back. More or less helping people. I get my most joy out of seeing people get results. Some of the people we talked about before,
yeah,
just to see someone go from not completely losing, but just spinning wheels going nowhere to
yeah,
getting their inspiration back and just going, oh my God, this is easy. Like I talked to you about one client who, you know, really went well with her business, and it was a personal problem that she fixed up, and her business went 100 times on what it was before. And it wasn't me, nothing to do with me, 000. She just had the luck that came in because the hole that was blocked with all her problems, because they say you've got a caffeine receptor for a caffeine molecule. Well, people have problem receptors for problems, and they're full of problems and full of shit, if you know what I mean. And I liken it to 64 snooker balls. Imagine 64 balls stuck in your head. I try to get those out of my clients, and like by farting or speaking or shouting or dancing or just urinating or just, letting it out. And you can feel them just pulling them out. And as you get lighter, you just know what you want to do. Same as the kid analogy, the job for the 20-year-old. So for me, probably helping as many people as I can. I know it sounds very, I don't know, Christian or service-based, etc. And I don't want to pull that card. I'm neither of those two. I do like looking after myself, but I like helping other people to help myself. That's how I get my chops, The
bottom line, you'll be giving, you'll be giving them clarity. A lot of people, you people out there, you need clarity. And look, God, the worst you can do is pick up the phone, make an appointment, go on LinkedIn. You'll find this gentleman's name on LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn, reach out, make an appointment, have a virtual cup of coffee, which costs you nothing, and you'll be enthralled. You might end up like me. You might end up chatting for a couple of hours on the phone, but he's an enthralling man. He knows a lot, and he can help you. If you need some help, he'll be there to help you. He'll be in your corners to help you and guide you. And we all need a sounding board, right? I don't care who you are. You need a sounding board. It might not be your spouse, might not be your family. It might be a stranger, right? In this case, but reach out, guys. That's the worst you can do. And speaking of this, guys, 15 minutes of fame. I'm going to tell you a bit about that. As you can see, it's like talking to a friend. And I want you to think about this, guys. You do I've done all this stuff. You do a TV commercial for 30 grand. Fantastic. It's in the tube, ready to go. And then they play it when a big movie's on. And what do people do? The moment the TV commercial comes on, guys, they don't sit there enthralled. They jump up, they grab a beer, they grab a hot dog, they go to the toilet, and they miss your whole darn commercial. Trust me. 10 radio spots on the BBC or 2UE or one of those stations back in Australia, they're going to cost you between 3 and 5 grand. I've done this as well with Malcolm T. Elliott. Anyway, what happens is they invariably play them like they promised you, but they play them at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning when no one's around, right? Come on, 15 minutes of fame, guys. We're going to have an interview like this. We're going to turn the whole thing into a fantastic mini movie all about you and your life, and we're going to put it across Quora, Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook group, YouTube, and our new school channel with all your social media links, potentially putting you in front of hundreds of prospects. The rest is up to you. Do not throw this in the drawer. Get out there on LinkedIn. I was interviewed by the guru. This is what we said, and people will look at it. Get it out there and promote yourself, guys. If you don't promote yourself, no one else is going to promote you. That's a fact. Right? Before we wrap it up, I know a lot about you already, but tell us a fun fact about yourself that most people do not know.
Look, I'm a total goose. Like, I just do the weirdest things. In my personal growth group, they used to call me shit dog, and they said if there's a pile of poo and someone's going to open their mouth and run right at it and take a chunk out of it because I want to get through to the other end of the shit, I would do that. I do anything for anyone I love, and whatever it is, I'm just a goose. You don't see that in me often. Since my accident, I've been a bit more, flat. But I just love to have a laugh, especially, if someone can, it sounds awful, but if someone can take the piss out of me, I really like it, because if they can trigger me in any way, then I'm just showing how morose and flat I am. So I just love laughter. I've got a picture of my kids lying back, just belly laughing at the stars. And I've got another one of them hugging me from behind. So that's the biggest thing. I'll do anything for my kids, and I'm just a goose. I really am. Yeah. I
love that. I tell people when I'm dying in my 90s with whatever, cancer, whatever, I'll be laughing, and they go, and I think, what's the alternative? You guys want me to be all sad? I want to keep laughing until my last breath, right? And I want, because I enjoy life, and I like Ken, I enjoy helping people. So if I can help you in any way, guys, reach out. And the same goes for you, Ken. Anytime.
You've helped me today, mate, massively. You've been brilliant.
That's my great pleasure, my friend. We're about to wrap this up now. Any last words to our audience, please?
Just do what you love and you'll never have a crap day in your life. And the happiness that you've brought today, you know, find your light, you know, what lights you up. And someone said once, look for the people whose eyes light up when they see you. So just find those people and make sure your eyes light up when you see people, so that, because some people, you never know if they're close to a bad moment. You know, literally one of my friends stopped someone doing the bad thing recently. She just smiled at the guy, and the guy spent 3 days at 𝐊𝐿𝐴, eventually grabbed her and said, I was going to do the bad thing that day. You lit me up. So I think us talking about suicide today is a tough one, but like, we never know what a good look will do to some people. You never know. They're one step away, and a bit of light is quite amazing. Yeah.
I do a couple of weird things. I often see people, you know, on the street with no money, like, you know, and I'll sit down with them, and I won't give them money ever. I'll buy them a cup of coffee and a sandwich and listen to their story for half an hour. It costs me nothing, but it lights up my life, right? And the other thing I do is the weird one. I go to coffee shops all the time. I'm an avid reader, guys. That's how I made my money. I read books, right? That's how I learn. And I take that, I'm finished with the book. I write a little story in the front of the book, and I say, pass this on. I look around the room before I leave the coffee shop, and I leave it on the table for the next guy.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So I finish with it, you know? I just hope it gets passed on. Someone finds it and goes, wow. And I know it can change people. Books have changed my life. My first book ever was a great book, and I still remember it to this day. That suited me down to the ground. The Lazy Man's Way to Riches.
Didn't know it. I don't know it. Yeah.
That's an awesome book. That's an awesome book.
Okay.
And if you want one better than that, it's called ready? This is a fantastic book. These are cheap books, by the way. How to Make Money Out of Thin Air. I made millions of dollars.
I like the sound of that one.
That book made me millions. It's a red book by someone Shear. I forget his first name. Could be Richard. I'm not sure. But that made me millions of dollars. You know, so I'm a great one. Read books, guys. Read
to Make Money Out of Thin Air and The Lazy Man's Way to Riches. Yeah,
you'll love them both. You'll love them. Okay. The first one is basically about the mail order business, but you take away the mail order and just apply the internet to it, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, truth has just been rebadged, hasn't it? So that's brilliant. Thank you.
No trouble.
You've blown me away to do, mate. Like, you know, we had a good hour or so beforehand. Absolutely. You give a damn. You're not just a 15-minute wonder. You give a damn. I can feel it, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. All the best, my friend.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, Jeff.